The first service that we came to, a rabbi was preaching that day. And I think that alone sealed the deal. I was just so impressed with the openness and the connection that this church truly made to the community and to its faith and the exploration of that faith and of others.
We came to the church. We were talking to some friends we have at school, and they mentioned to us there's a wonderful program here, a theater program for the children. In fact, it was small and unique. There was older kids, younger kids, but everybody got a chance to be on stage. Everybody got a chance to sing their hearts out. Our relationship with the church has evolved since then. We got to know it outside of just the little choir theater part. We learned what the church brings to our family. The fact that my husband and I are two different religions. He's Hindu, I'm Catholic. But it was this unique place for our kids and me, and my husband. We come to the church, we come to the sermon, we come and participate in lots of different ways. And we're welcome here. We feel so welcome, even though we come from different backgrounds. And my kids feel so welcome here.
Well, the most important aspect about being part of the MBCC family is it's similar to being part of any family. This is a family just like any other family. This church family has your back. They're there when you need them.
The number one thing that church brings to my life is a sense of family. Being a single person, the church really does become my family. They're here for me when I have issues. They're here for me on holidays. It's more than a family, it's a friendship. So it really becomes my home.
The sense of community and being part of this church family. I've been a member of the choir for the senior choir for about 18 years, and they're my family, my choir family, first and foremost. And then just everything else about the church, the groups I belong with, the social action board. My son is in the choir now and part of the children's theater. So just having that feeling of belonging and that community and the social aspect would be the number one thing.
The number one thing that the church brings to my life is a sense of family. We care for each other, we take care of each other, and we just generally like each other. And that includes people who don't necessarily share our same opinions. We all get along.
I was basically born into this church, yes, and so why would I not stay here since I have lived here? And this church allows one to have the freedom of thought, which I respect very much that we're able to do.
I think one of the important things about that is the fact that regardless of what your politics are, people still support you and they love you. Whereas when you're outside, if somebody doesn't have the same political beliefs, a lot of times you just don't want to have anything to do with them. But in the church, we are family, and you love your family whether they believe exactly the same things as you do. And one of the things that I think is so wonderful about this church is that we're accepting. We have a daughter who's gay, and it's nice to know that people aren't saying she's going to go to hell, or how can you live with a child like that? Well, she's family. We support her. We love her and want everyone else to feel the same way. And I feel like this church does do that.
Interesting story. After I married my spouse, David, and a 10-year absence here from the South Bay, we came back and were looking for a church. And Manhattan Beach Community Church was one of several that we looked into. The thing that I most appreciate about this church is the sense of belonging and community.
Well, we moved from the San Jose area here in 1986, and when I was active duty Air Force at the time. And as part of every move we go church shopping. And this was part of our church shopping exercise, and we went through several of them. For several Sundays, we did church shopping at brunches around the various restaurants, but we finally found out that that was adding more pounds that we didn't want, so we decided to stick with church.
So we were church shopping, and the sermons just hit directly to me, and we're talking. I felt the minister was talking directly to me and had very similar life experiences.
I'm Reverend Mark Pettis, and I am the senior minister at Manhattan Beach Community Church. I grew up in the church. My parents were both ministers, and so being part of a church community feels very natural to me. And it is an extension of my sense of my experience of family. Always kind of lived apart at a distance from my more extended family, so the church becomes that in my life, and that sense of family, that extended family. And for me personally, there's a sense of vocation. I mean, we talk in ministry about a sense of calling. I've done many different things professionally in my life, and the one that felt most natural was serving a congregation as a minister. So it fulfills that sense of vocation and calling for me.
And one year, my littlest guy came home from preschool, and he said, "Mama, is it true that the baby Jesus, Christmas is the baby Jesus' birthday?" And I said, "Oops." Game changer. had a great energy about it, and young people were welcome here, and groups, and no one judged the fact that I divorced or any other thing. That didn't always fly everywhere, so I was pretty impressed.
So we started coming 9 years ago, and we became members about 7 years ago. So we hung out for a little bit before we committed. Yeah. The number one thing church brings to my life is God. I wasn't necessarily religious when we first started coming, and I didn't even think that I wanted to be, but I think that the quality of what God has become through coming to this church, what it's brought to my life personally as I parent, as I interact with other people, by far the number one thing, which is good because it's church, so. So God.
Our church gets me because it strives to welcome everyone. We have a motto that whoever you are or wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. And I think that's just a very affirming and positive statement for this church to make, and I love it.
Our church gets me because it cares for me, it cares for others, it cares for the community at large, and that's important.
The church gets me because it lets me give back, which is really important to me.
This church understands me because I can be who I am. I don't need to be anybody but who I am.
Our church gets me because we are allowed to think for ourselves. We are not dictated to.
MBCC, my church, gets me because they know I'm from the South, and they know I'm a redneck, and I'm a proud farmer, and I grew up on a farm. So they give me a lot of slack.
So somehow this church knows when you're in need of something, and it just is there for you.
No, the church understands me because they let me be who I am. And I'm comfortable being me, and I'm welcome here.
Because I'm a basket case. For that exact reason. I think our church gets me because it's open. It's open to interpretation. It's open to people, experiences. I think it's genuine, and I think it's real. That people are accepting and people are respectful of differences and similarities, and I appreciate that.
My church gets me because it understands the circumstances of my life, understands that there are other expectations and needs, and it meets me where I am. It helps me connect to community, helps me to connect to God in those opportunities that I have, and it celebrates it when I can.
Our church understands me because they're so open-minded. I think, you sit for service, and they're talking about, immigration, diversity, how they're helping, people outside of this country. And even if you look around and there's not a lot of, minorities like myself in the church, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. And I think that's what's so beautiful, because you can tell the people here look outside of their bubble, and they're the type of people that, you know, I want to talk to, and the people that want to listen to me too. And I feel so comfortable. That's not something you can teach or find in, you know, many places. And I found it on accident, and I'm so glad I did. You're welcome here.
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 You are welcome here.
You are welcome here.
You're 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 welcomed here.